Sprains, strains, muscle pain, no one wants to experience any of them, but injuries can happen even while enjoying fun summer games and activities, and many of these injuries can be prevented. So to talk about how to prevent common summer sports injuries and keep you healthy while staying active this summer with us today is Dr. Dana Brooks with Cone Health OrthoCare Greensboro. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to start here. What are the most common summer sports injuries you could see that really could be prevented?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, we see a lot of them here working at orthopedic practice, but what I'd say are most common are things like, tennis elbow or leg strains or tears, so things like the quadricep tendon or hamstring strains. I see a fair amount of overuse injuries, so things like Achilles tendonitis or plantar fasciitis, shin splints. And then depending kind of on the patient population, the age, the activity level, we also see some more traumatic things like ACL tears, meniscal tears, rotator cuff injuries.
And injuries can even happen while tossing the ball in the backyard with the kids or, casual game of beach volleyball, but not formal competitive sports. So kind of talk about that.
Yeah, you hit it on the head for sure. I mean, a lot of times we'll see patients come into the office and yeah, the story isn't great, right? It's not a big sporting event. It's, hey, I was out on the beach and I rolled the ankle, or, I stepped in a pothole. And a lot of times I do think that's when injuries come about for a few reasons. If we're getting an activity, we're usually preparing ourselves, but sometimes we're just out in everyday life where, we're not stretching, we're not doing a proper warm up. So those are things to think about. A lot of times it's on uneven terrain or an unfamiliar terrain. So we've seen people, playing catch with their son or daughter out in the lawn and they step in a pothole. And then a lot of times, if you're not planning to play a sport, you're just picking it up, that day. A lot of times we'll have improper shoe wear, so people wearing sandals or heels or not the right equipment that they're using. So all those certainly play a role in some injuries that can come about.
Absolutely. And what are some practical steps people can take to prevent injuries before they even happen?
Yeah, that's the magic, right? So I'll try
Right.
a few good things. Obviously, we can't prevent them all, but definitely some steps that everyone can take that will certainly reduce their risk on a daily basis. So things like a proper warm up. So we're kind of moving away from sit and reach, just stretch. That's all you need. We're looking more at a dynamic warm up. So something that's getting your heart rate up a little bit. So some jumping jacks, running in place. Something to get the body and the muscles warmed up and loose. Another big one, especially in the heart of North Carolina, right, in the summer times, is just staying hydrated. It gets hot, and when our bodies aren't appropriately resuscitated with fluid and we're not drinking water, that can certainly increase your risk for a lot of different injuries. And the other thing I say too is, not just when you're doing the activity, but there's definitely a place for regular stretching, things like yoga, incorporating strength training, whether that's at home or at the gym. Those are sort of things that are going to build up your muscles endurance so that you're better able to participate in those activities that you want to do.
Oh,
Probably the last thing that I say too is just listening to your body, right? You probably know your body better than even we do at times. So if your body's telling you you need to rest or you're hurting, just listening to that is definitely important.
very much so key. Well, doing much too soon, we have all done it, and then we feel it later. I'm so guilty of that. So are there signs we need to be aware of that would indicate it's really time that you should just take a break?
Yeah. Yes. Happened from experience as well too. So definitely. But yeah, I think doing too much too soon can certainly increase that risk. We know a few things. So everyone's overdone it a little bit and had maybe the whole body hurts or a certain area will be sore for a little bit. I say it's normal to have some of that. So for a day, 2 days, maybe 3 days at the most, if you're feeling a little sore, that can certainly happen. There's actually a condition called delayed onset muscle soreness where it's normal to have some of that soreness and a little bit of muscle fatigue. That's just the muscle being used. But I would say after it's been a few days, your pain still isn't getting back to your baseline, or if you're having pain while you're doing an activity. So all of us have done some things and we're a little sore the next day, but if you're consistently having pain when you are going to play tennis or you're playing golf or you're playing basketball, that's probably a good idea to say, hey, why don't I go see my local sports medicine or orthopedic physician and at least see them? Is this normal, or is there something I should be doing differently?
And what could happen if we don't?
Yeah, so what could happen if you don't is if you aren't already injured, you can get injured, or if you're having an injury, it can certainly progress to a worse injury. And so I think just that's the point that you should be aware of if you're listening to your body and it's hurting you. You're certainly at a much higher risk of just re-injuring that or going on further. I've had patients come into my office before that said, well, I could still walk a little bit, it hurts, so I didn't think it was possible to have something broken, and we'll get an x-ray or get an image and we see something broken. So we're trying to prevent that, right? Because all of us as physicians, we're trying to get you back to doing what you want to do safely.